Welcome to the Noonday Meditation with Wayne Vernon.
We have seen on several occasions that Paul's ministry team was a diverse group of people. It was made up of different ethnic groups, age groups, gender, professions, intellectual levels, different socio-economic levels, and various levels of preparedness for ministry. Just a whole lot of diversity in his ministry and among the ministry team members. We would remember John Mark, who was not totally prepared for ministry, and how he had to go back home on the first missionary journey. Today we're meeting Trophimus, who encountered at least two major challenges as he supported the Apostle Paul in ministry. You know, brothers and sisters, quite naturally, the Apostles' team would have experienced a number of challenges depending on where they were and the composition of the team. They experienced prejudice and discrimination, health challenges as they traveled together. Unfortunately, both Timothy and Trophimus found themselves at the center of challenges, racial or religious issues. We will remember that Timothy's mother was a Jewess and his dad was a Greek. And Paul, anticipating what was going to happen, he had Timothy circumcised to avert the challenges that he would have had. Trophimus, however, had a totally different experience. He is with Paul in ministry, supporting him as a traveling companion, may have been one of the emissaries sent from the Ephesian church. So he and Tychicus, they are both Asian Christians from the Ephesian church, and they're traveling with Paul. Unfortunately, his presence with Paul in Jerusalem created some problems and resulted in Paul's arrest, because Paul was wrongly accused of bringing him into the temple as a Gentile and profaning the temple, which actually did not happen. But Trophimus was not daunted by this temporary setback. He continued as a traveling companion of the Apostle Paul. However, he was confronted by another situation, another setback, which was illness, as we see in 2 Timothy chapter 4 and the verse 20. Paul ends his book, the second book to Timothy, with greetings to people who were near and dear to him in ministry. And he tells him that he left Trophimus sick in Miletus. Now, interestingly, Paul is in his final season of life, and he instructs Timothy to, pass on greetings to, some of his team members. And right in that greeting, he updated Timothy as to what was going on with some of the other ministry members. Trophimus had served the apostle in ministry for quite some time, but he fell ill, and Paul had to carry on with ministry and leave him behind. What a sad statement. Some persons have suggested that the word used for sick, asthenio, is really feeble, and he may not have had a physical ailment, but he probably had become feeble, as the Apostle Paul, would have, been aging and becoming feeble at this time. The big question many ask is, why then didn't Paul lay hands on him and facilitate his healing as he had done on many occasions, even, brought back someone to life. But we are reminded that Paul did not have the power of healing at will. It was as God allowed him to do so that he was able to do it. And the other apostles too, they seem to have struggled with this very issue. Being able to lay hands on people, their shadow would heal people, but they themselves and their friends and counterparts, they did not exercise healing over their lives. The question I want to ask you today is, what challenges do you face in ministry as you serve alongside another Christian leader? Whatever it is, do not become discouraged. Don't be daunted by it. Trophimus overcame ethnic and religious prejudice experience in Jerusalem, but he kept going on. And he kept on, and like Paul, he kept serving until he became feeble. May God help us as we serve faithfully despite the many issues we're facing at this time. Because, brothers and sisters, like he told the Apostle Paul, my grace is sufficient for you. I pray that whatever your challenges are today as you serve alongside a man or woman of God, that you will not allow it to dissuade or discourage you in any way, but you will keep pressing for the higher mark of the higher calling in Jesus Christ. May the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ be with you. Amen.
Thank you for listening to the Noonday Meditation with Pastor Wayne Vernon. Please forward this study to your friends, your relatives, associates, neighbors, and all those persons in your social network. If you have a prayer request, please feel free to communicate with us, and we will commit to supporting you in prayer. Until we meet again tomorrow, Shalom.